my science project, I need to think about a way to present it in a written format. So I want to figure out how to present it. And I'm going to make a science fair poster. I'm going to make it digitally because we're going to have a digital fair. You could always do this even if we had an in-person one. And it really begins with organizing my information. Whoops. Okay. So I want to think about the things that I want to convey to the people who are looking at my project. I'm going to start with something called an abstract. And an abstract is basically a summary. What did you do? So can you summarize it in a few sentences? What did you do? What did you set out to do? What were you studying? And what were your results, very briefly? Then we have a method area. The method is how. How did you do it? So how did you carry out the experiment? What things did you change? What was your independent variable? And what things did you measure? What was your dependent variable? And then we need some data and results. So remember, scientists don't just believe us because we said we did it. We have to show them with evidence. So we want to have an evidence-based project. So we need to show our results. And that's really important to show in a way that really helps bring the point across, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So a lot of times we'll use tables or graphs. Sometimes you have to do things to the data, like you have to make calculations from some of the things you measured, or you may have to analyze them and get an average or do some other statistical reporting on them. And this is going to be really the meat of my poster. This is showing my work. And then I have a conclusion. So how do I interpret my results? I now know them very clearly because I'm the one scientist who did them. So what can I really say? And it's really important that you don't overstate your claims. You don't want to talk about your project that studied 4 or 5 things and make a generalization to all of the things in the whole world based off of that. So we really want to keep our claims. This is what my research can say happened in my project. And then we want to come up with a title. And sometimes I put the title last because sometimes coming up with the title is what you do after you've organized your information and you really see how it all comes together and you come up with a good title that's informative for the viewer. All right, so I'm going to show you what I did with my project. So remember, my project was studying plants, and I wanted to see if it mattered whether I watered them or not. So in my abstract, I say, to see if the amount of water a plant gets affects its growth, groups of plants receive different amounts of water daily for 4 weeks. Growth was monitored by plant height and number of leaves. The unwatered plants grew the least and the most watered plants grew the most, suggesting that increasing the amount of water results in more growth. So I basically have summarized it very briefly so that somebody who's never seen my project can come over and read that and say, oh, this sounds interesting. I want to learn more. Obviously, the level of writing is going to vary between a 5th grader and a 12th grader. So we expect this to be on level with the person's age who's participating in this. And this is an opportunity where you can get other people you can write it and have other people edit it and give you some feedback on it and pointers about it. And then I have my method. My method is basically, so what did I do? What was I measuring? And I really want to take attention and think about things like my controls. What kinds of things that I made sure that I controlled? How did I make sure that only the variable that I was changing, only my independent variable, was the thing that could be affecting things. So I want to kind of point out some of those details. And I have a very short method. Sometimes the method might be a whole slide to itself. So I said 36 plants were split evenly into 3 groups. All plants were labeled and placed on the same table with equal access to sunlight. So I'm kind of talking about the fact that they all had the same sunlight. They were all in the same airspace, so that shouldn't have been a variable. One group was never watered. Another group was given 2 ounces of water each morning, and the last group was given 4 ounces of water each morning. And now I want to talk about how I measured it. So at the end of each week, the plant height with stem held straight up against the ruler was measured and recorded along with the number of leaves. This was repeated for a total of 4 weeks. So I'm giving the reader a chance to understand exactly how I took my measurements, because how we measure things in science may be something that affects how the measurement answer I get. And so sometimes the judges and the public are going to want to know about that. Then I'm showing my data. So these are my data that I will say I made them up. But so in this case, I have these 36 different plants, and on one side I'm showing the plant heights and I'm showing the number of leaves. There's a lot of information there. And I put it in a table, and I tried to kind of like color code it to sort of make it a little bit easier for people to sort of see the pattern. I did an average so that you, instead of having to look through these individual numbers, you can kind of see the average for that week for that particular setup. I tried to put in red, these are the no water, the 2 ounces of water, and the 4 ounces of water. But it's still kind of hard to see a pattern. I also, I had some nice photos. By the way, I didn't take these photos. These photos were from somebody else's science experiment that I found, so I've credited it down below. And you want to be careful. You don't really want to be using other people's work, but if you had your own pictures, you could put them in. And when I'm making these, I use this as you can make tables in PowerPoint. You can also make them in another program and cut and paste them into PowerPoint. You can also write it out on paper neatly, or type it on paper and then take a scan of it or a picture of it and put that picture in. So they don't have to be done in PowerPoint, but you want something that's clean and easy for the judges and the public to see and to be able to read. And it's pretty small, so it's going to be difficult. But again, this is where people can look for a pattern, and if the judges need to see the detail, they can blow it up and look at it in bigger detail. So we'll provide that for them. The next thing I have is some charts. So obviously that table is hard to read. So I chose to use some graphs to really demonstrate the results. In my case, my independent variable was how much water I had. And so I'm sort of showing over time, here's my no water, my 2 ounces of water, and my 4 ounces of water in both cases. And my dependent variables were plant height and leaf count. So I have one graph for each of them. And I've really showed them on here. I don't know if you can see it well, but you may be able to see that behind the yellow average, I showed each individual one for the no water, and same thing for the others. So they're kind of there, and I can kind of see how much variation was there. So I noticed that, I can't really even tell the difference between the green and the blue, between the 2 ounces and the 4 ounces after 4 weeks. But I can see that they're on top of each other because they're so close. But I can see that these are the individuals, and I can see that all of these individual heights are bigger than the highest height of the no water group. And that helps me understand whether I'm seeing something that's just accidentally it happens to have a higher average, or if it suggests that there's a real cause and effect. So that's pretty helpful. And these graphs take a lot of time to make, so this is going to be a significant portion of your presentation, is really taking that information and processing it into graphs. And again, this is something that can be done on paper neatly and then take a nice quality picture of it. This is something that can be done in lots of different programs. You can do it in Excel or in Google Sheets. Those are good programs that will make graphs. There's a lot of different programs that can make graphs. So I have a variety of different options for making them, and then I can take them and either copy and paste them, or I can take a picture of them and insert the picture into my PowerPoint. So, and these are things you can ask some adults to give you some help with, so you want to be doing this your work, but you can, if you are a little less familiar, you can say, hey, can you help me? Here's my graph. I don't know how to get it into PowerPoint or into Google Slides. Can you help me? And that's perfectly okay for grown-ups to help you with some of those projects. And then I have my conclusions. So I really want to be careful not to overstate things. In my case, I said giving plants water daily did increase the height of the plant and number of leaves. The variation between plants was smaller than the difference between the groups, suggesting that watering was the reason for the groups. But I don't know that it was. You know that I'm using soft words like I'm suggesting. I have evidence to support this idea, but I can't say for sure it's true. And that's very important in science, is that we want to make sure that unless we have an abundant amount of data, that I can't really make a claim for sure. There was not much difference between giving plants 2 ounces or 4 ounces of water, so no conclusions can be made about how the amount of water affects growth. and further tests should be done to determine the ideal amount of water needed for optimal growth. It's very important at the end of your conclusions, it's very helpful, I should say, if you can talk about what comes next. Science is never done. It's never just one experiment and you're done. We always need to replicate trials to see if we can confirm the results. We're always trying to try new things and expand our knowledge on this. Once we learn one thing, we want to kind of go a little deeper and learn a little bit more. So there's always another experiment, and it's very helpful for the judges to see that you know what you don't know, what comes next, and that's pretty helpful to end with your conclusions. Okay, so now that I've kind of come up with that, notice that would take me a long time to really identify all that information and summarize it. But now that I have that, now I can put it all together on a quad chart. Basically, it's going to be one slide where I'm going to show all of those individual slides in 4 quadrants so that I can really have all this piece on one slide, and I can make it into a PDF file that's very easy to send to somebody. It's a very small size file, and so it works very nice to share the information. And so I also need to come up with a title. So now that I've done it, I came up with a title, and I want to really clearly identify what my project was. And I may want to do it in kind of a nice creative way as well, show some creativity. I chose, do you need to water your plants if you want them to grow? And I'm going to step through what we're going to do, and then I'm going to show you. So I want to make a new slide. And I'm going to type my title at the top, and I might put my name and my school underneath the title. And then I want to divide the main area into 4 parts. And I can do this making 2 lines. I can make a vertical line and then a horizontal line and kind of break it up that way. Or I can make a table that has 2 rows and 2 columns, and I'm going to put the information in each part of the table. So I'm going to then go back, and for each one of my slides that I've already made, I'm going to basically copy it and put it into one small area on my quad slide. And for that, it's really important that you select all of the items. In PowerPoint, you go back to the slide, select all the items, and you want to group them together. That way, if we resize them, it will resize everything proportionally and it comes out nice. And then I want to copy it, and I'm going to paste it onto the area of the slide, and I may need to resize it so that it fits in that little area that I've made. So let me see if we can do this together. So I have a new slide, and I'm going to put in my title at the top of it. And might want to take this and center it, and take it and maybe make it a little bit smaller. I love this go down a size. So that looks like a good size title. Remember, this is going to be bigger when they see it. It's going to be taking a bigger piece, so it's going to be very small. Down here, if you're using PowerPoint, you can zoom in, and this is pretty helpful. Sometimes you need to kind of like zoom into an area as we're doing this, so I kind of mentioned that. I want to split this up into 4 parts, so I'm going to make some lines. So I'm going to use my line. I'm going to make a vertical line, and I'm going to make a horizontal line, and I'm eyeballing it, and you can spend some time really, kind of getting it, but the idea is I'm just trying to visually break it up into the 4 areas, because I'm going to now copy the stuff from the other slides into one of these 4 areas. So now I'm going to go back to my first slide. Here we go. And I want to select everything. One trick that you can do is you can do Home, Select All, and notice it selected them, and now I want to copy them, so I'm going to do copy, so make a copy of it. I don't want to actually change these slides because these slides are helpful and they can show me in good size, but I want to make a tinier copy of it down on my slide. So I go to this, and now I'm going to paste. Now when I paste it, they're going to be too big, but I'm going to now make them smaller. Oops. And I may need to change the size, so it does do some, I really have to spend some time doing some rescaling. So now I'm going to have to kind of resize it to be in this area and move it around. And this is where this becomes helpful. I don't know what happened to my methods. That seemed to disappear. have my abstract. And somehow I lost my thing that had methods on it. I can recopy it. So I'll go back to the other slide. And copy this. Copy. Go down to the end and paste it. And I want to make it smaller. So I got to get to the ends where I can make it smaller. And so I'm going to play with this. You're going to have to spend a lot of time resizing it. I've gone ahead and kind of showed you my next page where I can see it's all there put together. I need to recopy that abstract part there, and I can kind of zoom out. So now that I have this, oh, this looks like these moved up. So I've spent some time getting it all pretty, and when I'm done, this ends up being my poster. I can do something on the file. This is whether you do Google Slides or whether you do PowerPoint, where I can export it as a PDF. Now, I really just want that last slide as my PDF, and this is going to be my poster. You can do the last slide if you do options, and you say, I just want it to be the 9th slide, from 9 to 9. And I want this to be my poster, and I could save this. It says publish, and it's going to make a file. You still have your PowerPoint file, but now I make another file that just has this as a PDF, which is a very small file that now I can submit to the science fair, and that's a great way to handle it. I hope this has helped you think about how you can display your project. There's a lot of little variations in which programs you use, but some kind of presentation software is the best thing to use, and you'll end up with a nice project that conveys to the public and to the judges what you did with all your hard work.